everybody's favorite, baseball scholarships, okay? So right here you'll see that the most scholarships available for a fully funded program, Division I, is 11.7. 11.7. So if there are 35 players on an active roster at a Division I school, they only have 11.7 scholarships to provide, okay? And 25 is the max that they're allowed to offer athletic scholarship to. So if they have 35 players on the active roster, only 25 are allowed to receive any type of baseball scholarship. That means automatically, okay, if you go on anybody's website, there's going to be 10 players on that roster that are not receiving any type of baseball scholarship. Maybe they're not receiving any scholarships, okay? Maybe they're receiving 50% for academic, or maybe 100% or financial aid. So it doesn't mean that they're not getting any money. However, at least 10 of those players are not receiving any type of baseball scholarship. Now, there's a misconception about offering a scholarship that they can just throw out 5% to this guy and 10% to this guy and just spread it all the way out. If a baseball coach is going to offer a scholarship to a player, it has to be 25% or more. All right, 25% or more. I guess the magic number that's a pretty good offer would be about 50%. All right, so if you're thinking that you're pretty good, so you're going to get 100% scholarship, I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it's very rare. All right, it's not like basketball and football where for most of the roster spots there is a full scholarship available. Baseball is different. And I believe Florida State, for example, has only had 5 players receive a full scholarship since Mike Martin has been there, and 2 of them were Deion Sanders and Buster Posey. So those were 2 out of the 5. All right, so it is extremely rare to receive a full scholarship. All right, and a lot of those players are getting between 30, 50%, and 70%. Once you start getting to about 70%, that's pretty darn good. All right, that's offering a pretty significant package out of that 11.7 to a player. For Division II has 9 full scholarships available. All right, Division III does not offer athletic scholarships. However, that does not mean that if you go on a school's website and say it's $50,000, that's just what it is. All right, let's be honest. If Johnny is throwing 88 from the right side, all right, and Timmy does not play baseball, and they both have a 3.5 GPA with a 27 ACT, if I'm throwing 88, I'm probably getting more academic money. All right, baseball coaches are going to work in conjunction with admissions to make sure that their players are taken care of. Same goes for all Division III sports. They're going to make sure that they're working for their recruits to get them the best possible package to get that player to come over to their school. All right, so no, there are not athletic scholarships. However, there are a lot of ways, all right, to make sure that you're cracking down on whatever that tuition amount is, and the coaches will work very hard for you. If you're pretty good, all right, they're going to work hard for you to make sure that you're not paying full tuition. You're getting the best deal possible. JUCO, all right, JUCO, part of the different parts of the country, it's very prevalent. Most players know about it. Most parents know about it. Where we're physically at Northeast Ohio, a lot of parents and players do not know about it or know very little about it. All right, they got a lot of money. 24 full scholarships available at a fully funded junior college. That means that if you're pretty good at baseball, you're one of their guys, all right, one of their big recruits, and keep in mind they only have freshmen and sophomores. There are no juniors and seniors, so those scholarships roll over every 2 years. You're probably going to school for free for 2 years, or if not for free, pretty darn close. And tuition at junior college is substantially lower than a 4-year school. So some junior colleges in state may be $3,000 a semester. Some of them across the country may be $3,000 for a full year. All right, so not only is it a heck of a lot cheaper to get those first 2 years of classes, but a lot of those players are going to school for free. And for the players watching, all right, it may not seem like a big deal to get 2 years of school out of the way debt-free. For the parents, you guys know it's a huge deal. All right, so there are a lot of benefits to junior colleges, especially from the financial side. NAI is not affiliated with NCAA. That is a totally different entity. Like we talked about previously, there are some advantages to NAI, especially from the international side, but also from the academic side. A lot of schools, these two schools actually started out as NAI and transitioned into the NCAA Division II. All right, so I would ask you to go on and try to find out more about NAI athletics, NAI schools, and learn more about that and start to understand where those schools are. In Ohio, I know there's an absolute powerhouse about 3 hours from where I'm at right now in the Cleveland area. That school is the University of Northwestern Ohio. They're phenomenal. They're phenomenal. They're usually ranked about 10th in the country. And if we had all of our players outside and I asked them to raise their hand if they knew about that school, we probably have maybe 25% raise their hand. All right, there are a lot of very good options available, and I would ask you guys to make sure that you understand all the different options before you start narrowing down your list. Staying in line with the financial side of it is financial aid. It's probably one of the most overlooked, or I'd probably say misunderstood, advantages to the college recruiting process. Financial aid is not only for people or families that are underneath the poverty line. That's a pretty prevalent misconception. There's a lot of parents look online and say $50,000 a year. There's just no way. We shouldn't even go visit that school. Johnny, I know you want to go there, all right, but we just cannot afford that. Move on. All right, start to understand and look into the benefits of financial aid and really start to understand that it's a lot more accessible to middle-class families, even some upper middle-class families than you would think. We pulled these right off of the websites for these respective schools. Oberlin College, one of the finest colleges in the country. All right, Oberlin College is pretty expensive. Let's be honest. It's a phenomenal education, phenomenal campus, but it's pretty expensive. And a lot of parents and a lot of players look online and say, well, that's just way too much money. We can't afford that. This is directly off of Oberlin's website. So obviously you can see that the average amount that a student receives at Oberlin College is $32,000 a year in financial aid. All right, so that's a heck of a lot of money. All right, and I would imagine that the student body at Oberlin is not just all families and people that are below the poverty line. A lot of these families are middle class and they're still getting financial help. All right, so when you start looking at the financial side of things and looking at tuition and room and board, all right, also go and look at the financial aid portion of the website and get an idea of what percentage of the student body receives some type of financial aid. And some schools will actually, even like Oberlin, put up what the average amount that a student would receive. Also, you look at a Division I school, Dayton, here in Ohio, which is a private school. All right, about 90% of their student body is receiving some type of financial aid. All right, that's significant. And a lot of schools are able to bundle. So what I mean by that is maybe a player, let's say a school is $50,000 and they receive $30,000 in financial aid, breaks it down to 20%, and then they receive baseball scholarship on top of that, or academic money on top of that. The one thing that is difficult, right, is bundling all three. The only school that I know of firsthand, because one of our players, actually a couple of our players were being recruited by Duke, is Duke University. They have the ability to package financial aid, baseball scholarship, and academic money. All right, that is rare, all right, but some schools are able to do that. Most schools are able to bundle at least 2 out of the 3, all right, to make tuition most affordable for the recruits.